I guess what I'm saying is, like, we won the war because of the bombs. And that's a whole other discussion on whether we should have dropped them or not. We should have.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to A Conversation with Colin. I'm Greg, this is Portillo, and this is my roommate, Colin. Now, sometimes Colin says crazy stuff. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I reach into my random topic pile, pull one out, toss it at him, and we talk it out for your amusement. If you like that, like the video, subscribe to us on YouTube, share us with your friends. Could you tell that I screwed up the one word back there?
Well, I was going to say just that you mentioned Portillo, yeah, but you can barely see him. It looked like you were pointing at your dick.
This is Portillo, my wiener dog. Colin, are you ready?
Yes.
Today's topic of conversation is, what is the most important moment in U.S. history that no one knows about? This is from @SteelCard30.
That no one knows about?
He means, like, obviously we all know about, the Battle of Bunker Hill or something goofy like that, like, Paul Revere. What's a moment in American history that you think is super important that, like, you're going to say to me, I'm going to be like, I don't really remember that?
Shit.
Gotcha. Good job, Steel. I tossed your card down. SteelCard30. Steel card. It's a card. It's crazy.
That's a hard one.
Right?
I mean, I think one of the... I'm going to say, like, when people know about this, but when we detonated the nuclear bomb for the first time, I would say...
Out in the desert?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, the Manhattan Project was, a thing that we eagerly jumped into when we got wind of the fact that the Germans were chasing the bomb, too.
Yeah.
And while I think that people get caught up in, rightfully so, one way or the other, whether you agree with it or not, that we dropped these bombs on Japan to end World War II, I think what people don't seem to focus on a lot is that time that we split the fucking atom, which is probably one of the most important things that's ever happened in human history, and we did it, And I was recently watching a documentary, a two-part documentary that the BBC did about Hiroshima, and they were talking about, a lot of it was focused on Los Alamos and Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and building the bomb and figuring all that out, and how they were astounded that it worked, and how afraid they were that it was going to work too well. And I don't know if you heard any of the stories about what they thought was going to happen when they detonated the bomb. But, so there's, really smart guys like Einstein, for instance, and Teller and Oppenheimer and all these guys that worked on the bomb. There was a real fear that we might destroy the entire planet with it, because they were afraid that there might be a chain reaction where the bomb explodes and sets a chain reaction and just sets the entire atmosphere on fire. And there was another fear that it would burn all the oxygen in the atmosphere. Like, they didn't really know what they were dealing with. So, like, we had this years-long attempt to split the atom and harness this energy, and we had the balls to just do it. like not really knowing what's going to happen, because the bomb, for just a second, is the sun. The bomb is brighter than the sun, as hot as the sun, and it goes away. But we didn't know if that was really going to happen, and they just sat in the desert one day in bunkers and we're watching, and we're like, we don't know if this is going to work or not. And they all just sat there and just fucking detonated it, and it worked. And I think that's one of the most extraordinary moments, not only in American history because we invented it, but because we, in the course of human history, not only because it created this whole nuclear arms race that almost destroyed the planet, it might still destroy the planet one day, but because we created this new, totally efficient and clean way to make energy that we're afraid of, because we quite haven't figured out how to do it properly yet. We have to think about 3 Mile Island or Chernobyl.
Right.
So I think that's like a hugely important moment in American history.
Did any of them try to talk him out of it? Like, did Einstein, like, say, maybe we shouldn't do this? Well, this is a bad idea. Yeah,
so you have to understand that a lot of the guys that worked on the bomb were exiles from Germany, right? And many of them were Jewish, immigrants to the United States that left when the Nazis took over in 1933 because they were afraid of what was going on there. And they had friends that were still there that were telling them, like, the Germans are going to try to split the atom. Now, like, splitting the atom is something that they knew that was theoretically possible for a long time, long before World War II.
Yeah.
No one could figure out how to do it and how to create the chain. It's not about splitting the atom, it's about creating the chain reaction and finding the right thing, like uranium or plutonium, that will, like, let the chain reaction
spread.
Yeah, spread and become, like, this huge explosion. And it took all this time, but when they got word, when Einstein and Oppenheimer and all these guys were getting word that the Germans were working on it, they're like, we have to do it first, because, like, at least we'll have it.
Right,
and the bomb was designed to drop on Germany. It was not designed to drop on Japan, because we were working on it before Pearl Harbor even happened, really. I mean, everything kind of gotten heightened after that point, but they knew that they wanted to do it before that point. And so I think that, you know, well, I know for a fact that like when they built the bomb, there was a lot of reservations, and there was a lot of people trying to convince them not to use it, because not because they were afraid of the repercussions of what it would do to the Earth, but because we really didn't understand the radiation and stuff like that. Like we didn't quite get that.
Yeah.
Not because of that, but because they were like, this is a horrifying weapon. Like, we don't know if we should have this kind of power, but if they're going to have it, then we have to have it first, you know, and make sure that they'll never get it, because the Nazis would have dropped it on us. And you better believe that they would have dropped it on New York City or Washington, you know. So when we look at history, it's a good thing that we got it first, but it created all these different problems. Like nothing shifted the paradigm as much as a nuclear bomb did, in terms of military, in terms of politics, geopolitics, in terms of just, you know, think about our parents with, you know, duck and cover and all those kinds of things, the fear that they had to live in. It changed everything. So I really think that moment in the summer of 1945 in the deserts of the United States, you know, really changed everything for the world. I think that's one of the most important moments that people don't really discuss at all, you know. Yeah, we won the war. Like, I guess what I'm saying is, like, we won the war because of the bombs. And that's a whole other discussion on whether we should have dropped them or not. We should have.
Yeah.
But
discussion ended. Clip that out. That's another conversation with Colin.
But, you know, that's like a whole other thing, because that's like a whole other conversation, because, like, I get really frustrated when people talk about the bomb and how, like, we shouldn't have dropped it and stuff like that. Like, we had to end the war, and we didn't start it.
Yeah.
And they refused to surrender. And we didn't have to drop two, except they refused to surrender after we dropped the first one. You know, like, but the repercussions of that were terrible. We didn't understand at that time in 1945. We knew the bomb was destructive.
Yeah.
We saw it with our own eyes. We tested it, you know?
But nobody knew when it went off and tested that it was that radioactive?
Right, exactly. Okay. They knew that there was like some sort of radioactivity that's inherent when you split the atom, but like, we had 4 bombs, right? We had 4 of them, and they were all, you know, there were 2 inherently different designs, right? A plutonium bomb and a uranium bomb. And we tested one of the bombs, and we saw that it worked, and we're like, holy shit, like, this thing actually works, and now we're going to use it. And the one, I believe the 4th one we didn't use is hanging in the Smithsonian. And
deactivated,
yeah, I would assume so. But we didn't quite get, I think in Oak Ridge, some people were getting radiation poisoning, and I actually think that some people died from mishandling, you know, the uranium and the plutonium or whatever.
Yeah.
So we knew that there was something there that was like fucked up, but I don't think we realized that this would like create years-long problems in the places that we dropped the bombs or whatever. You know, it's not as bad as like a nuclear reactor meltdown or anything like that by any stretch of the imagination, but you know, I think that, you know, just that day we detonated the bomb is a hugely important day, and understanding why we dropped the bomb and why we chose to use it and how many lives it saved. I think that's something a lot of people overlook, is just how many lives that bomb saved. You know, we've never used it again. I don't think we ever will. And you know, what we would have had to do was invade Japan, and that would have cost 1 million American lives and 8-10 million Japanese lives. You know, that was the alternative. You know, is a fucking bloodbath in Japan. You know, they were training young Japanese boys to crawl under tanks and, you know, blow themselves up. Like they were teaching, you know, schoolgirls to use spears to stab American soldiers in the neck and chest. Like, we would have had to mow these people down.
Yeah. Instead,
we just detonated a couple bombs, and the lives lost. It's tragic what happened.
It's horrific.
And but like it was better than the alternative.
Yeah.
You know?
War is never going to be good.
No. And I hate to put it in these raw terms, we didn't ask for that war. You know, we didn't do anything to cause this war to happen in the Pacific. We were attacked.
Yeah.
Now, yes, we had an oil embargo on the Japanese and all these kinds of things, but they poked the hornet's nest, and we didn't want to have to end it like that, and we gave them a million ways and a million reasons to surrender, and they refused to do it. And some people think that we should have just shown them the bomb, that we should have just been like, look over Tokyo Harbor at 5 o'clock, and we're going to fucking blow this thing up. But I don't know if that would have done it. So it created all these problems. But yeah, anyway, the bomb.
Okay.
The bomb, yeah.
The bomb. You can't say bomb on a plane. Thank you, Steel Card, for your topic of discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you want to see Colin talk about on a future episode? Let us know in the comments. Then make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to us on YouTube. Colin, as always, thank you for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, have a conversational day.